Hey, and welcome to the Dadadvice channel. If it's your first time, we're a community created to learn and grow together. If you find this content beneficial, we'd love for you to like and subscribe to the video and share it with somebody that it might positively impact. With that being said, let's get into it. The mind adapts and converts any obstacle to its action into a means of achieving it. The obstacle on the path becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. He also goes on to say in a separate quote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." The topic I wanted to discuss today was what questions are we asking ourselves and how can we ask better questions that serve us? I find I often get caught in a negative self-talk loop, like I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good looking enough, just different forms of negative self-talk that are going on in my head. And I think we can agree that negative self-talk that's going on in our head about ourselves is not good. Science studies have shown that negative self-talk is related to increased stress, depression, anxiety, or cognitive performance. All in all, negative self-talk and negative questions is bad for us. So I think the better questions we ask, the better answers we get. Often we don't even realize that we're having negative self-talk or that the quality of our questions are not the greatest. For example, you might be asking yourself, like, why is my marriage failing? Your brain's gonna try to reach in to find an answer to that, and it might be, hey, my partner sucks, they're terrible at communication, I'm not good enough, my discipline's super weak. So in essence, and try to understand it more in depth, whatever question we ask, whether it's good, whether it's bad, our brain is going to be constantly working in the background like a supercomputer to try to solve the question. So even if it's a question that we don't necessarily want to be solved. So it's super important to understand, acknowledge, notice what questions we are asking ourselves, because that brain's gonna be working to solve it. So the key takeaway here is that whatever questions we ask, our brain will try to solve it. So how do we ask better questions? And if we go right back to that example, what might be a better question to ask than why is my marriage failing? And a better question might be, what can I do to improve my marriage on a daily basis? Where your brain's gonna work to solve that question. A much better question than just a completely negative question of why is my marriage failing? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a marriage, it can be anything. It can be, why am I struggling at life? Why am I not good with money? Why am I not succeeding in my job? When your brain's trying to come up with that answer, there usually is no good answer for why you are not succeeding in your job, why you're not being promoted. And if you're continuing to try to upgrade your questions and ask better questions of what can I do to get promoted on my job is a much better question than why am I not being promoted. So if you can kind of see that the questions that we ask are gonna result in, or our brain's gonna be able to come up with much different answers to those questions, whether it be right or wrong. Because the brain's gonna use past experience, it's gonna use knowledge, education, and it's gonna use imagination. So how can we have better questions, or how can we create better questions? And this first step is gonna be acknowledging, noticing that we are having an inner dialogue, that we have those questions in the first place, whether it's negative self-talk or just poor quality questions. So it's acknowledging, noticing, step one. Step two is becoming intentional with the questions and the problems we want solutions for. Step three builds upon this by practicing. How do we practice? We practice by writing down the questions that we want solved, by looking at the questions that we want solved, by journaling about the questions we want solved, meditating. So there's multiple ways to practice, but just creating the questions we want, thinking about them. And the last one is just letting our subconscious brain solve the problem for you. So in addition, I wanted to give you some questions that might supercharge you, that you're like, I don't even know what could be good questions for me in my life. And sometimes people use affirmations, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But these will allow your brain to really get working and solving problems or making you just a better person overall. Here is a couple of questions that I really like. What would my 80-year-old self do in this situation? What would a great husband, what would a great friend, what would a great father do in this situation? What would a billionaire do in my situation? Those are some questions that I like to kind of let my brain formulate around and solve problems. There's also a person that I hold in high regard. His name's Vishen Lakhiani. He's written the book Code of the Extraordinary Mind. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to get a copy of it. I really like his work. He has a few questions that I really like as well. And they are, why am I so good at making, keeping, and multiplying money? Why does the universe always have my back? Why do my dreams and goals come to me with such ease and speed? Why am I so brilliant, so genius, and so able to tap into sources for instant inspiration? Why am I surrounded by love and amazing people who I am deeply connected to? Why am I able to do so much in so little time? Why am I surrounded by bliss and happiness no matter what? So again, these are his questions. Those first ones are some of my questions. You can come up with whatever questions that solve whatever problem you're looking to solve. But having the better quality questions and just continue to upgrade your quality questions, so you're not asking why am I failing at this question, and you're asking the questions of how do I succeed at this, not why am I failing. You're asking a positive, not a negative question, and it should help you in all across your life. So let's go over a summary. Step 1, acknowledge the questions you're asking yourself. Step 2, be intentional on what questions you're asking. Step 3, practice by writing, looking at, meditating on, journaling about your questions. And step 4, let your subconscious brain do the rest. I guess you could also say get sleep, because that will help your brain solve the problems. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you found this content valuable, I'd really like if you would like and subscribe to the channel so we can make a positive impact on more people. With that being said, have a Kaizen life. I'll see you on another video.